How lucky are we? We get to watch and cash off the best sport in the world, the National Football League. It's NFL Week 5. Stay tuned for picks, best bets, and locks for this slate in the NFL. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the Degen Docs on DFSG Plus Sports Betting Channel. What is up, folks? NFL Week 5. We are heating up in the NFL. Things are starting to separate pretenders, contenders, teams we still don't really know, but we've got a lot to get to. We have got another awesome slate. Bye weeks are now here, so it makes it just that much trickier to navigate. So we are here to help you do just that. What is up, folks? I am one of your hosts here, the Degen Doc. More importantly, I am joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Evidently I'm a popular guy. I've gotten like 15 calls within the last hour, and none of them have been from people that I know.
Okay, well, it's about that. They're calling you for winners.
It's an interesting night, but
they're
hey,
hitting you up. The bookies are telling you got to stop killing me, man.
Well, that might be true. I had a pretty good week last week as far as my locks go.
Yes, you did.
What was I, 3-1?
We will get to that. You were 3-1, and we will get to that. A quick little recap. But for those of us who are joining us maybe for the first time or coming back to hang out with our pals here, it's the NFL Week 5 Hot Picks Show. Best bets, game picks. The way this is going to work, folks, is we are going to do quick banter up top, but we're going to get right into it with our our props of the week. Then we are going to get into our best bets, or what we like to call around here, our docs prescriptions, bets that we like so much. We are going to go ahead and prescribe them to you. We're going to do a nice Degen Parlay where we talk a little bit of a pizza bet, a little bit of crazy odds, what if it hits type deal. And then, of course, we are going to do a Thursday Night Football breakdown, another NFC West Division rivalry game between the 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams there. We've got a ton to get to. But hey, let's talk about what happened a little bit last week. What are some of your takeaways from NFL Week 4? Big picture here. Crazy week in the NFL.
Yeah. Let me think here. The Detroit Lions are legit. Ties suck.
Can we talk about that for a second? The Packers were absolutely playing for a tie, right? It's a game that they absolutely should have been killing them. You know, I unfortunately had to fly. I was traveling last weekend, so I left the airport I was getting on the plane. It was 14, or I saw the blocked extra point where it was 13-2, but the Packers were in complete control. I land, I see, what the fuck? It's overtime. They're down by 3. I'm like, okay, man, you know, at least they'll win the game and help me in my survivor. And all of a sudden they get down and they're like chewing clock. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Completely agree. And then at the end of the day, like whoever the clock operator is down in Jerry's World needs to be fired. Like there should not have been a second left on that play clock.
Yeah, that's no home field advantage there.
There's no way there should have been a second left on that game clock. Usually if a field goal is kicked, 3 extra seconds runs off the clock every single field goal just because, you know, why not?
Yeah.
Right. But no, going back to, you know, what we kind of learned. I mean, like I said, the Lions are legit. The Chiefs have returned to their stomping grounds, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Or the Ravens just really suck.
Or the Ravens just really suck. I mean, they're missing a shit ton of guys, my guy. But the Titans have a shit ton wrong with them. And it might just might be rookie season over in New York.
Look, I'm glad you talked about it because you're right. Jaxson Dart, baby. W starting to flow. I said I was out on the Giants. Well, not out. Apathetic. And then they started Dart. You took him as one of your locks. Not only did they cast, Dart said, fuck the points, and he got the W, as you see him and Jameis chowing down on a nice meal. But yeah, man, Jaxson Dart, vibes are high. But of course, it can't be too high because Darren Waller scored 2 touchdowns and crushed my Jets bet there. Of course, he had to.
Sure.
He couldn't let New York have a good week.
You've been shitting on him for what, 4 months at this point, and then he starts
He
a
comes
game and scores
back
2 touchdowns.
I think he had like 5 plays, 2 catches for 2 or 3 catches for 2 touchdowns.
3 catches for 20 yards and 2 tuds. Yeah.
It only cost the team Tyreek Hill, unfortunately. So Tyreek Hill, brutal injury.
Yeah.
But hey, let's talk about it. Last week, man, I hope that you guys were tailing my props because I went 3-0, and Derek's lock because he went 3-1. We both 3-2 on our picks for Thursday night, so profitable there. So a little up and down, props was better for me, and locks were better for you. But we're hoping to come together and hone in and really have a nice week 5 here. Look, week 5, it is officially bye week start. So we have the Atlanta Falcons, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and Pittsburgh Steelers are on a bye officially, just so you know. And speaking of those Steelers, I looked earlier this week, and I'm not sure the number right now, but it was plus 170 for the Steelers to win the AFC North. You got Lamar Jackson dealing with his injuries. Matt Abuke's ruled out for the year. This Baltimore team doesn't look right. Bengals look full. And then you have a situation where the Browns don't have a quarterback. I know we were both high on the Steelers. I think you gave it out preseason, correct?
I did. Yeah. I'm trying to go back and see what the number was. It was to win the North was 5-1 or 550. Yeah, plus 550.
Plus 550.
So that's looking pretty good. The Steelers have come through to this point, and all the other teams just look like shit or beat the hell up. So
at plus 170, are you reinvesting? I mean, I guess in your case, you have the plus 550. Like, where are you at as far as, like, say, maybe you didn't have it, or if you did have it, like, as someone who had it in a parlay but didn't take it outright, at plus 170, I mean, they got a 2-game lead, and who knows what's going on with the Ravens' injuries and the Bengals and Browns' futures. Like, I think this is a steal. What say you?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, I don't necessarily know what the Ravens are going to look like. Not even like the next 2 or 3 weeks while Lamar's out, but the rest of the season. Their defensive line has beat the hell up. Madubuike is out for the remainder of the season.
He's such a big player for them.
They have a corner out, I think, as well.
They got guys all banged up. And
it seems like on every level they got guys banged up. And I mean, they face a pretty good Houston Texans team. Now, the record doesn't necessarily show that, but historically, over the last few years, they've looked pretty good, and that defense is ferocious. And then they play the Rams the week after that. So, like, neither of those games are gimmies, and that's without Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, we'll see what the Ravens do. Like you said, the Bengals have looked like complete shit. And, I mean, hey, it might be the Browns' time with Dylan Gabriel. We never know. But it also could just be a 34th name added to the back of jersey since, 2000 or whatever we started to count these Cleveland Browns quarterbacks.
The famous name jersey, I think it's ran out of space. So maybe I don't know what we're going to do.
We're going to have to
add on or something.
Smaller font size or something.
Exactly. Yeah. But all right, we got a lot to talk about. NFL Week 5, we are jacked. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with these props of the week here.
Yeah, man.
I will let you go first. What is your first prop for NFL Week 5?
Yeah. Let's see here. Week 5. There we go. Did you watch that Miami game against the Jets?
I did, unfortunately.
The Jets were gashing the Miami rush defense
Absolutely.
all night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Carolina has a pretty good back in Chuba Hubbard. So I think this is a Chuba Hubbard type of a game. So I'm taking his over rushing yards at 54.5. I think that's just far too low for a very capable back. Now their offensive line still has some question marks for sure, but that front seven for Miami just looked absolutely pitiful the other night at home. And this game's in Carolina. So I think Chuba Hubbard's going to have a pretty big day.
Yeah, absolutely. I that's just a play that I was going to come in on. I saw you had it, so I pivoted. I'm going to let you have that, but I'm absolutely playing this. I mean, he's hit this in 2 out of 4 games. Last week, he was averaging 4.9 yards a carry. That game just got away from them, so he
Right.
kind of just got pulled.
Yeah.
Now, I completely do not expect that game script. Like, I don't think the Dolphins really should be laying points on the road against anybody.
Yeah. Right.
I think they're still a very bad team, and now they don't have Tyreek Hill. So
Yep.
as much as that was nice to see Waller do some things and them to get that victory, the
Yeah.
refs were very biased in that. Like, I don't think Miami is a good team at all. I did
Yeah.
not walk away from that thinking like, oh wow, Miami's going to turn around. No, especially on that rush defense. So yeah, I like that number. Miami's the third worst rush defense in the league, giving up 158 yards on the ground. And
Yep.
Chu Hubbard, I mean, for him to get over 55 yards as the clear RB1, that should do that with ease. So
yeah, he might do that in the first half.
yeah, absolutely. No, I love that play as well. My first official prop is going to be Garrett Wilson over 60 and a half receiving yards, sticking in that Monday night
Okay.
game, right? One of the other things I walked away with, look, there's a couple things. Both those teams suck. Like the
Yep.
Jets just kept, I think as Brees Hall put it, shot themselves in the foot and then came back and shot themselves
Over
in the
and
head.
over
You
and
can
over again.
look that up. I did not make
Yeah.
that up. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But you also had to walk away with Garrett Wilson is fucking incredible. He's a great player.
He's a stud.
He is very, very good at football.
And he's their only receiver.
Exactly. They don't have anybody outside of him. He should get peppered with targets. And they're playing a Dallas Cowboys team. This is the worst pass defense in the NFL. They're giving up almost 300 yards a game just through the air. That's absolutely incredible that a team could even do that. The fact that they have a win and a tie is crazy. But I mean, Russell Wilson threw for 450. Jordan Love threw for, whatever. And I know Fields isn't the most prolific passer, but he can hit and throw the ball up to Garrett Wilson. It only takes a few. I think this is an absolute steal at 60 and a half over at Bet365 minus 110 there. And look, the only game he didn't hit this was when Field got knocked out of the game against Buffalo. So look, I think their defense is also not great as far as the Jets. So this is probably going to be another classic Cowboys shootout. And if the Jets want to hang around, they're going to be able to run the ball, but they got to throw it in the air and they got to get Garrett Wilson the ball. So yeah, Garrett Wilson over 16 and a half minus 110. What about you? What's play number 2?
Yeah, I'm going to pick on your New York Giants a little bit here and say that Rashid Shaheed goes over 37 and a half receiving yards. I mean, I think the front seven is the strength of the New York Giants defense. Their back end is questionable to me, especially that cornerback number 2. Rashid Shaheed is a guy that if Spencer Rattler can get him the ball deep, he could pick this up in one catch. I mean, he's already gone over this number in 3 out of 4 games. This past week against Arizona was the only week that he didn't, and he had the most catches. But in each game this season, he's had at least 4 catches. He's been getting plenty of targets as kind of that wide receiver too. So yeah, give me Rashid Shaheed over 37 and a half.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I mean, this could be a garbage time play anyway, But yeah, realistically,
you're hoping.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully they have to throw the ball because of game script. But I mean, yeah, he's a flyer. He's someone that can absolutely give us trouble on the back end. I'll get to the Giants Saints game, but safety Tyler Nubin showed up on the injury report. Now it's just a Wednesday practice, and he did play, so nothing crazy there. But he's someone that, if you're not careful, will take the top off of a defense. And Spencer Rattler can throw him a duck up there, and he can go run under it. So I actually don't mind this. I think Shaheed probably can have a decent day. And Shane Bowen has a tendency to be a little passive and not press as much, so he can get some easy yards as well. So I don't hate that, and it's such a low number for a guy who I think is very talented, a guy who I was big and high on in the beginning of the year. I think it's a very low number. All right, my play number 2 here: Quinshon Judkins over 71 and a half for rushing yards minus 110 over at Bet365. This guy's really good. Yeah, I know he had the whole off the field situation, which is very unfortunate because it seems like it was completely false. He was, not guilty at all. And ever since he's came back, he's been an absolute stud. And the Vikings, for as good as their defense can be, they're very susceptible on the ground. They're giving up 4.5 yards a rush and 130 yards a game. And you have a situation where Dylan Gabriel, rookie quarterback, is going to be making his first start over there in, I think, London. They're in this week. But what's the quarterback's best friend, especially a young quarterback, the run game. So I think they're going to give him plenty of carries. Again, he's hit this in a two straight games. The only game he did not hit this was in the first game where he was working on a limited load. He only had 10 carries.
Right.
He averaged over 6 yards a carry. Like this guy, he's probably one of the only bright spots of this Browns offense so far. And I think they're going to hammer in an absolutely ugly game where, you're going to get Carson Wentz on the other side. So I think this is going to be a play behind your defense, run the ball type of game plan for the Browns. And Quinshon Judkins, I love him to go over that 71.5 rush yards.
Yep. I like that one. My last prop for this week is Colts running back Jonathan Taylor. I mean, the dude's an absolute stud, and his number's at 88.5. And I think that's just far too low for this Colts offense as a whole. I mean, they've really, really impressed me to this point in the season. Didn't expect them to be as good as they have been. But they're going up against a Raiders team that hasn't seen a running back like Jonathan Taylor. I mean, they've basically seen two rookies, Swift three rookies basically, and DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift to me is probably a 15 to 20 to 30 best back in the league. Like he's definitely not towards the top. No. So I think this is a steal number. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have himself a little bit of a day, and I think game script's going to probably lead into this too. I think the Colts are probably going to put it on the Raiders. So yeah, give me JT.
Yeah, well, I will get to that a little later, but I will definitely be expecting and rooting for that as well. My last prop of the week here, Nico Collins over 70.5 receiving yards at -110. Again, at bet 365 because they got the only ones having props out this early in the week, so it's nice to jump on some good numbers there. But the Ravens defense, you mentioned it, right? They're extremely beat up. Not only are they like beat up generally, but all three of their starting cornerbacks are not practicing today and have a good chance of missing. Chidobe Awuzie with a hamstring, Marlon Humphrey with a calf, Nate Wiggins with an elbow, all not practicing. They are signing guys off the street today that are likely going to have to go and guard Nico Collins in 4 days or whatever it may be. This is a defense that's already giving up 265 yards a game in the air with their starters. Now with their backups, good luck, and especially with the lack of a pass rush that they had. Look, the Titans, I think they understand this is a kind of a must-win game for them to get back into the playoff race and the division there. Or Texans, excuse me, yeah. But I love Nico Collins here to have a great day. He's hit this in the past 2 games. I think him and Stroud are getting back to what they used to be, and they just simply don't have a guy who can cover Nico Collins. I don't know if they have 2 guys that can cover him. So I think he's going to get peppered with targets. I love his over 70.5 receiving yards in this one.
I like that one. I like that one too.
All right.
I might have to play all 6 of those, to be honest with you. I don't know if we rattled off anything that I disagreed with.
I'm saying we were solid 3-0 last week, and I love your Chuba Hubbard play. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I like it, man. Hey, but if it was that easy, I guess we'd probably be doing this from some penthouses.
That's probably true.
So a quick recap on the props here. Derek had Chuba Hubbard over 54.5 rush yards, which I will also be playing. Rashid Shaheed over 37.5 receiving yards, which I like, but I don't know if I could play out of heart there. And then Jonathan Taylor over 88.5 rushing yards, -110 against a Raiders defense that is living on a prayer right now. And for myself, Garrett Wilson over 60.5 receiving yards against the worst pass defense in the league and the Dallas Cowgirls. Quinshon Judkins over 71.5 rushing yards in London in an ugly defensive game. Look for Judkins to be a stud there. And then Nico Collins over 70.5 receiving yards, -110 against a Ravens defense that at this point is going to ask Derek and myself to go play defense for them because they've got nobody left. Best bets time, brother.
We used to lock some wide receivers down on the intramural field back in the day.
Up on the gridiron in good old Steel City of Pittsburgh, man.
Put both of us on Nico Collins. I think we can handle him.
I think we were one Narduzzi's son's punch away from a national championship up there in the intramural ranks.
Right.
Yes, we'll have to maybe over a few cocktails one night. We'll tell that story. But we did play against Pat Narduzzi's son. and he was a little bitch. Is all I will leave it as that. So, best bets, Doc's prescriptions here, the bets that we like so much as medical professionals. We're prescribing it to you, and we are doing that right now. I'll let you lead this off. What is one of your favorite plays of the NFL Week 5 slate? These are money lines, totals, spreads, those types.
Yeah. No, I think the one that popped into or caught my eye the most was the Bucs going out to Seattle, and I think the Bucs are in a point where they're kind of in a bounce back spot after a close loss to the Eagles last week.
Yeah.
I know Seattle's been playing pretty well, but I think these teams match up pretty well as a whole, and I just trust Baker Mayfield a whole hell of a lot more than I do Sam Darnold. I know it's in Seattle. I know it's going up against the 12th man, but I just think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have one of the better teams, one of the best teams in the NFC. And they'll be able to go in there and potentially get the win. But I'll go ahead and take the points at 3.5. So give me the Bucs at 3.5.
No, this was a play that I was very close to, and I will probably get in on, but just kind of left or did not make the list for me. Baker Mayfield for Sam Darnold 1. I mean, think about it. Like, in this situation, do you really want to have money against Baker Mayfield and on Sam Darnold? No, thank you. It's not what I want. Now,
No,
Bucky Irving looks like he potentially is going to be out. He was with the boot crutches with the foot sprain. But Rashad White has been capable, and then you have Sean Tucker there. And, Seattle, like both these teams are 3-1, but I do not view these teams kind of like what you were getting to on the same level. I think the Seattle Seahawks are a bit fraudulent in some of the wins they've had. Even against the Cardinals there, they got pretty fortunate to close that one out. So, catching 3.5 points, I think that you're in a good buy low spot on the Bucs coming off that tough loss to the Eagles, which basically a block punt away from getting that done.
I mean, and so far, I mean, the Bucs have had one of the best defenses in the league to this point, which is something that I was a little bit surprised at coming into the season. I thought that their defense was going to be okay as it has over the last 2 or 3 years, but so far they're only giving up 273 yards a game. I mean, they're a top 5 defense when it comes to yardage to this point. So, I think both of these teams have pretty good defenses. I just trust the Bucs offense even more so, whether they have Bucky Irving or not. So
I agree. I absolutely agree there. All right, my first play here, it's going to be an ugly one. I'm going to dive in to the stink a little bit here. I'm going to London. I'm going abroad, and I am taking Dillon Gabriel in his first start.
Really?
Give me the Brownies plus 4.5,
Okay.
minus 115. I actually love the Browns here, and it's less Dillon Gabriel. It's probably everything but Dillon Gabriel. It's that defense, it's the running game, and it is what is going on in Minnesota right now. Well, technically, I think they're still in Europe, coming over from Ireland. But they're going to have at least 3 offensive line starters that are going to be out in this game. Now, they got back Darisaw, a couple weeks ago, but since then, right tackle, one of the best right tackles in the league, Brian O'Neill, he is going to be out for several weeks with an MCL sprain. Then you have Donovan Jackson, the first-round pick, the guard who is playing well, wrist surgery. He's going to be out. And then you have center Ryan Kelly, who's had his second concussion in just 3 or 2 weeks there. He's definitely going to be out. They're not going to let him play this week. So, there was another one not practicing today. Good luck against Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, and that defense. Don't get it wrong, folks. I know the Lions kind of put it on them in the dome there. It's a bad spot for the Browns, but this Browns defense is legit. One of the best in the league, if not the best, especially going up against a mangled offensive line and Carson Wentz, who has a tendency to turn the ball over, which we saw last week against the Steelers. I thought the Steelers kind of dominated that game, and then, they kind of let it get closer than it really should have at the end there. But I love the Browns in this spot, catching 4.5 points. The Vikings also going to be without one of their best defenders in Andrew Van Ginkel, dealing with a neck injury that's got a little bit of Matabuke vibes to it, a little bit concerned now. But I really like the Browns in this spot. I think everyone, they saw them get their butts kicked by the Lions, and they're buying into Kevin O'Connell stuff. Like, this is still Carson Wentz with a bunch of backups in front of him against Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, and that defense, like I'm expecting him to have at least 2 turnovers and make Dylan Gabriel's life a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I think you're on probably the right side of that, especially when you're getting points in an environment that it's going to be a road environment for both of these teams. And at the end of the day, I'm going to switch down to my 4th pick here just to continue talking about this game a little bit. But I'm on the Cleveland Minnesota under. And it's one of the shortest lines that I have ever seen in an NFL game at 35.5. I think this is going to be ugly, to be honest with you. You have a rookie quarterback on one side against a pretty good defense and Brian Flores that mixes up all kinds of looks and is going to make it a living hell for a rookie quarterback on the road-ish, sort of, kind of.
Definitely
Yeah, exactly. And to your point, on the other side, you got Carson Wentz. And yes, he's 2 weeks ago, there was all this talk that the Carson Wentz experience is going right. KOC fixed him, all these things. The dude threw for like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. The only thing that he did right was not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
He turned the ball over last week. The Carson Wentz of what we've come to know over the last few years was back. And going up against that Cleveland Browns defense, yes, it is a different defense between being at home and on the road. This is neither of those. But at the end of the day, they have one of the best defenses in the league. Minnesota has a pretty solid defense as well. And I just think this is going to be an ugly Europe game. There's all kinds of funky things that happen over across the pond in some of these games. And I think it's just going to be one of those ugly games that's like, I will probably be on no touchdowns in this game just because I don't see how either team is going to move the ball down the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those classic 9-6, 13-10 Iowa, Nebraska, Big Ten West games. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it's set up to be. So we will see. Things can get wacky in Europe, but it is also a sleepy spot for the body clocks and having to deal with all the travel. And I know the Browns, but also, I mean, yes, they're close, but that's still
Minnesota. I mean, right? They're in Europe over the last week and a half, but you're going from Ireland over to England. You're switching practice fields. You're changing timelines. You're changing hotels and all this kind of stuff.
You're not able to go home.
It's not a normal week for them either.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I think the only thing about that is just like, wow, it's so low, but that's fine. Like I agree. Yeah. I don't see how this really kind of pops over. Expecting an ugly game, which is why I'm on the dog there. So next up for me, I will talk about how about a team that I'm not expecting to have an ugly game, a team that I'm expecting to show us all types of gizmos and gadgets as they typically do, and that's the Detroit Lions. Give me the Detroit Lions at the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, I like the over 49.5 in this game, but I am going to take it a little bit different direction. Just give me the Detroit Lions team total over 30.5 at plus 100, even money there. This is a situation where outside of the Packers in week 1, where they were trying to figure some things out, interior offensive line, offensive coordinator, yada, 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 they have scored over 30 points against, I think, some better defenses, right? You got Chicago. Obviously, we talked about Baltimore and their issues, but Cleveland Browns, I still think, are a very good defense. They put up 34 on them. And meanwhile, the Bengals have, let up 16 to the Browns, which when you're talking Browns language, that might as well be 50 points. You let up 27 to the Jags, you let up 48 to the Vikings, and then really 28 to the Broncos. The Broncos didn't try after the first half. Like if you watch that game, it was pretty much like run, punt. The only thing that really changed from the Broncos game to the Vikings game is that they didn't turn the ball over, but they were so conservative that I think there's going to be a point for them for Jake Browning to like, Zach Taylor's going to tell him like, look, both our jobs are on the line right now. I don't care if you throw 3 interceptions. Like I need you to get the ball downfield to Jason Higgins. And I think that's going to lead to some turnovers. And I love the Lions. It doesn't matter if it's 40-0 or it's a tight game. They're going to try to score touchdowns. So if there's going to be any team I'm going to trust to not do what the Broncos did and just kind of take the foot off the gas, it's going to be the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that one. Let's shift gears to what I think is going to be a competitive game. And I think that the Commanders are live on the money line here, but give me the Commanders and the points this week. Where the heck did I go here? I just completely lost my screen. But anyways, yeah, give me the Commanders. I think we saw what that Joe Alt injury did to the Chargers offensive line last week, right? I mean, the Chargers offense did not look the same once he went out and ended up, giving the game to your Giants. But I think that the Chargers as a whole played some pretty shaky teams over the first few weeks. Finally lost the game to your Giants. And I'm just not completely sold on them to this point. And the Commanders, although they also lost last week, I think with
with Mariota.
Daniels coming back, I think that's going to kind of flip the switch again for them. So give me the Commanders on the road in a not hostile environment at all out there in LA.
Yeah, look, I can't root for you on this one. One, division rival, but two, I want to believe the Chargers are good because that means the Giants are decent. So, but no, I mean, objectively, you get Jaden Daniels back. You're now 2-2. You got to start getting it working here. We'll see about the wide receiver room and McLaurin and Noah Brown. And I think they didn't practice. None of them practiced today. I think, Daniels did, but McLaurin did not, from what I understand. Yeah, Daniel's full participant, but McLaurin, Debo, and Brown. But again, just Wednesday, and Sam Cosmi got activated, or his practice window was opened off the pup. So if they can get that offensive line under control while the Chargers is in complete disarray, that'd be a big advantage there. So yeah, and then obviously not much of a home field environment for those Bolts out there in Los Angeles. Okay, I'm gonna stick with a team out in the AFC West, but I'm going to go against them. Give me the Indianapolis Colts -6.5, -112 there in Indianapolis in the Dome. This is a situation where Raiders suck. They're not a good team. And their best offensive lineman, left tackle Colton Miller, has a high ankle sprain with a hairline fracture. He's probably going to be out at least 6 weeks. He's on the IR. That offensive line is pretty damn bad. Like, there's all the talk about, is Genty a bust? No, Genty's not a bust. His offensive line just allows him to get hit in the backfield every time, 3 times. So now you take away the anchor on an already bad offensive line, and you have the Colts coming off their first loss of the season. I think it's going to be a very nice bounce back spot for them. Now, I'm a little nervous backing Daniel Jones, but to his credit, I mean, even against a good Rams team, it was neck and neck. I mean, the Rams, they were kind of fortunate definitely fortunate to cover, but they got the win late in that bomb to Tutu Atwell. This Colts team through first 4 weeks of the season have played really good ball. They've been well coached, they've disciplined, they've done all the things right. And when you look at the Raiders side of the ball, Geno Smith is turning it over at every opportunity he has. For them to lose that game last week, a bit of a crusher there, to try to get to 2-2 and 500 of the season, to get that field goal blocked. Last time they went on the road was to Washington. They got embarrassed 41-24 against Marcus Mariota. I think the Colts are a much better team than the Commanders are. So give me the Colts here. It's a little bit of a big number, but anything, south of a touchdown, I will gladly take. So I'll be back in Mr. Jones in this one. Give me the Colts -6.5. What do you got for us? Last best bet of the slate here.
Yeah, now before I get to that, that was one of the ones that just missed my top 4 for this week. But I'm gonna wrap this up with the Texans in a need to win spot, going over to Baltimore with potentially, probably the most hurt team in the league. Like the Ravens are just decimated with injuries all over the place. We talked about Lamar Jackson. We talked about their cornerback position, potentially needing to replace 1 or 2 of those guys. Ronnie Stanley, the offensive tackle, didn't practice today. Roquan Smith didn't practice today. I mean, they just have a laundry list of guys that are either limited, not practicing,
Yeah.
They're trying out all kinds of guys just to fill holes.
Yep.
And to like we said earlier, I mean, the Texans really need to win this one just to stay within the division themselves in that race.
Yeah.
And I think that they found something in Woody Marks. I mean, he kind of jumped on the scene in a big way last week to help out that offense from the running back position. So yeah, give me the Houston Texans favored in Baltimore, which you don't see too often. But and
Yeah.
I get it, like the whole Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh, excuse me, coming off a bye. Like I don't necessarily know if that's going to be the case when you're missing your starting quarterback, a tackle, half your defense. Like
Yeah. Coming off a loss there. Yeah,
yeah,
back off back-to-back losses actually. So yeah,
yeah,
it is weird to fade.
rats. Those rat birds are losing. Dang.
Yeah, it is weird to fade Baltimore in the regular season at Baltimore. Typically
Yeah,
not something you want to do, but yeah, I mean, so Lamar situation, no practice today, not officially ruled out. Now they
right,
called the injury; it's likely a 2 to 3 week type thing, but he apparently is
right.
pushing to play. We know this would be a bad decision to try to rush back. You're probably just going to re-injure it and lose
You
more time. But
and at minimum, he's going to be hobbled and not be the
Lamar, he
the
is.
player that he is. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not going to be able to improvise and buy extra time and scramble around
And
like
against
he
this
normally would.
defense, that's
He's going to
you're
need to.
basically putting him out to the pasture there. That's not going to be good. So we're either getting a really hobbled Lamar or Cooper Rush. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's hard. If it was just Lamar, it'd be one thing. But man, that defense is so beat up that even the Texans, I think, could figure it out. They scored against the
yeah,
Titans, so maybe they can score against the Ravens backups. So all right, I'm going to finish us off here. It was kind of between a couple plays at the end. Where did I want to fit in this last slot? Was it going to be the Bucks? Was it going to be different one or whatever? And then I realized it was staring right in front of me. Give me the New York Football
oh boy,
Giants on the
here we
money
go.
line plus 110. Listen, folks, Jaxson Dart did one thing. Not only did he defeat a undefeated team, but
He handed it to Bo Scatabo or whatever his name is
Cam
20
Scott.
times.
Please
Can't,
respect.
yeah, there you go. Can't
Please
Scatabo.
respect one of the best running backs in the NFL. But no, it's a situation where Dart gave something to a fan base and a team that is one of the most powerful things in sports, and that's hope. Okay, so I understand Malik Neighbors ACL lateral meniscus tear, terrible situation, right? But he only had 20 yards in that game, and they beat the Chargers, right? So this Saints team, I don't understand why they're favored, other than just trying to figure, hey, maybe they'll win one of these games. Well, if you did that for Spencer Rattler's 10 starts he's had in the NFL, how much money do you think he would have made? Zero. Exactly. He is 0-10 as a starter in the NFL. Also, the Saints are going to be without Chase Young, defensive end. They're also going to be without one of their better offensive linemen, Cesar Ruiz, out with high ankle sprain. The last time the Giants went up against a mangled offensive line, they absolutely obliterated Justin Herbert, forced him into turnovers, sacked him a ton, pressure. Now you have Spencer Rattler, someone who already has a tendency of turning the ball over. You're just
Yep.
going to encourage that. So, yeah, give me the Giants here. They're actually outside of neighbors, pretty healthy coming into this against a bad, injured Saints team. Yeah, I think that this is motivated. They understand, hey, there's a little bit of hope to get back into the season. They're not going to waste this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best for you, my guy, but I think it's one of the reasons why I backed the Giants last week is one, they were getting a shit ton of points. Two, I saw the way that MetLife came alive the week before when Jaxson Dart entered the game.
Right.
They're not going to do that down there in New Orleans. And a lot of times, one of the other reasons we get this huge bump when a coach gets fired, interim coach steps in, we get a great game. I thought maybe the same thing would happen with Jaxson Dart.
Right.
The problem with that is usually second game after a coach gets fired is pretty abysmal. So I'm hoping for you,
Well,
but
hey, who
I don't
knows?
know.
I mean, maybe
You
down in New
never know.
Orleans,
You never know. New
they're not
Orleans
used
isn't very
to
good.
they're not used to a good quarterback play. So maybe they'll just start cheering for the
That's
better
true too.
quarterback. So who
That's
knows?
true too.
But yeah, no, it's gambling instincts, the game after the game and the desperate team and blah, blah, blah. I just think the Saints are that bad, especially that offense. It's one of the worst in the league for a reason. So I like the Giants defense against the Saints offense. That's really the biggest, what it comes down to. All right, let's get down to the fun part of the show. Actually, let's do a quick recap here. Let me not forget to do that.
Yeah,
We
go
will
for it.
start with you. Derek's best bets of NFL Week 5. Doc's prescription is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers catching 3.5 points at Seattle. The Washington Commanders catching 3 at the LA Chargers. Houston Texans laying 1.5 at the Baltimore Ravens. And the Browns and Vikings under 35.5, minus 102 there in London. And that sleepy game. I think it's at 9:30 Eastern time. And then for myself, best bets of the week, we've got the Cleveland Browns to keep it close in that ugly game in London. The Colts to have a bounce back spot and lay it on the Raiders. The Detroit Lions to put it on the Bengals over 30.5 points there. And the New York Giants to continue their winning ways under Jaxson Dart. All right, let's get to our Degen Parlay or Degen Plays of the week. This is where we have a little bit of fun, get to throw out, you know what? I want to buy a yacht today. So let's put $5 on something and see what we can do. So obviously, do not want to put a lot of your bankroll on this, but this is where we try to talk you into a Degen play of the week. So why don't you start us off here for NFL Week 5?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, but we watched that Monday night game against the Miami Dolphins against the Jets.
Right.
And before Tyreek went out, he was playing great. He was having a great game. A
Right.
lot of little drag routes, a lot of little things that he was able to make space and make things happen. This week the Jets go up against the Dallas offense that they have one of those kind of gadget guys too. And I think Kevontae Turpin, especially with CD Lamb being out, could be that gadget guy that finds the end zone in some way. So give me Kevontae Turpin anytime touchdown. Let's add Rashid Shaheed. I already talked about how I like his matchup against your Giants. So have him get a touchdown. And then probably the best player on the Raiders that you're fading this week, Brock Bowers, to get in the end zone as well. So Turpin, Rashid Shaheed, and Brock Bowers, anytime touchdown, put them together, plus 42.89.
Yeah, 43-1
to
there
1.
for Turpin, Shaheed, and Bowers. Just 3 guys to find the end zone there.
So I'm saying.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to my DJing plays this week.
Okay.
Look, I basically was scouring the books and figuring out, hey, these are guys that I feel have a good shot of getting into the end zone where the price does just not make any sense. Now, what you do with this information, whether you parlay it or you round robin it, which I'm round robbering, but I will just give out the plays individually very quickly. 4 guys here who I think the number just does not make sense. I'll start with the one I thought was most egregious. I found this over on DraftKings. Dillon Gabriel, anytime touchdown at plus 750. We just saw this with Jaxson Dart last week. A mobile rookie quarterback against an aggressive defense that is going to do one read and then look to use his legs, especially around the red zone. Dillon Gabriel, a very capable runner coming out of Oregon, out of UCF and whatever. He was mobile guy. The Browns, although their offensive line situation is getting a little bit better with the Cam Robinson just got traded there, so that should be better. This defense and Brian Flores is going to blitz the hell out of him, so he's going to be running around scampering. Plus 750 for him to find the end zone. A guy who touches the ball on every play, just outrageous. Next one, my Giants tight end 2, Daniel Bellinger, anytime touchdown, 10-1. This is a guy who has already found the end zone this season, and with Malik Neighbors going out, they're going to have to run more 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, because we frankly don't have 3 good wide receivers. So Daniel Bellinger already caught a pass from Dart last week. Someone who's going to be in around the red zone against a Saints defense that is not very good. The Lions, I already talked about it. I think they're going to score 100 points this week. So Dan Campbell's one that likes to reward guys, especially who block well. Brock Wright fits that bill. Tight end 2, 9-1. He has a touchdown on the season already. Can absolutely see him off of play action when the Lions are going to be up by 40 in the fourth quarter, and
Roll
everyone thinks
out.
they're running it, and boom,
Yep.
he's going to get Brock Wright a touchdown. And then the final one, Bam Knight at 16-1 over at Bet365. This is a situation where James Conner is out for the year. You have Trey Benson on the IR, who's going to be out at least 4 games. People are talking, is it Michael Carter? Is it Amari DiMercato? Well, Jonathan Gannon said today, of his backs that he has left between Bam Knight, Michael Carter, and Amari DiMercato, he basically said all 3 of them are going to play. Like, it is a crapshoot. And I think Carter is like plus 185, and DiMercato is like 2-1. It's crazy that the third guy in a situation where it's completely fluid is 16-1. So, I think that those prices are absolutely ridiculous. So I will be taking each one individually, but I would recommend round robining for a nice big payway there. That's Bam Knight 16-1, Brock Wright 9-1, Daniel Bellinger 10-1, and Dylan Gabriel, the rookie, at plus 750. All right, let's get into our Thursday night football preview. As we always do, we round out the show with talking about this Thursday night game because we've got the most information on it, and we want to send you home with some winners here for the week. We've got another NFC West division rivalry game where we coming off a nice profitable one against the Seahawks and the Cardinals last week. We roll into this one that's going to look pretty different as far as who's going to be out there for San Francisco.
No doubt.
We've got those 49ers laying a monstrous 7.5 on the road there. They're plus 285 on the money line. The Rams, minus 360 at home, laying 7.5. Over-under sitting at 44.5. Now, both these teams are 3-1, so you would think, what's going on here? Why is this such a big spread?
Well, I can tell you what.
Let's take a look. Why don't you? What's your answer there? What would you say?
Well, I mean, the 49ers are missing their starting quarterback.
Yep.
They're starting wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2.
Yep.
And the Niners as a whole, I mean, I just don't know what's going on over there, but it seems like they're Baltimore West. They're having guys drop like flies left and right.
Yeah, no, I mean, Derek mentioned it, but yeah, Brock Purdy out, Juwan Jennings out, Ricky Pearsall out, Nick Bosa still done for the season, right? And on the Rams side, they will be down a couple starters, it seems. 2 guys were doubtful for them. It was Tyler Higbee, tight end, and then offensive tackle Rob Havenstein. But guys that are a little bit more replaceable than your entire passing game, essentially. Mac Jones is going to get the start. He's good to go he was coming off of PCL strain injury type deal. The Rams also get Cam Kitchens is good to go on the back end, and then offensive guard Steve Avila. So they lose one in the game 1 for the offensive line. So what say you? How do you see this one going down? What plays do you got for us? Why don't you start off with if you got a game pick or over under?
Yeah. So, I mean, I bet this yesterday morning, pretty early before any of the news of the wide receivers being out, as well as Brock Purdy, because I had a feeling that something funky was going to happen with all of the injury concerns that they had. So I got the Rams at minus 5.5 yesterday. Now it's at 7.5. I would probably still stick with the Rams in this one. I just think that the Rams are a pretty good team at this point. I'll give them that. That offense is really humming with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. And therefore, I'm going to be on the Rams on this one. At the same time, I don't think that this is going to be a really high scoring game based on the Niners, half their offense being out. And it's a division matchup at the end of the day. And division matchups usually are pretty close games. So I am also on the under. I got it at 46.5, but I would still think about it pretty hard at 44.5.
Yeah, no, we must have been reading the same tea leaves there. I tweeted it out on Monday, which is another reason to follow us over on X. But gave out some plays that I liked, and I knew the numbers were going to move. So, I also got them at minus 5.5. Obviously, at minus 7.5, I don't love it enough to give it out as a play. It's probably, it's a division rivalry game. Things can still get crazy. It could be a backdoor situation. I mean, Mac Jones is not great, but he was a starting quarterback at one point. Like,
Sure.
they could be sleepwalking. I don't love it at 7.5, so I'm going to stay away at that number. I think that the under is probably the right side there, especially at
Yep.
that number there. But look, yeah, I mean, the San Francisco 49ers offense has not looked great anyway this year. I think they're a super fraudulent 3-1. I think they're
No doubt.
very, very fortunate. We were on the Jags. Both of us were on the Jags last week, and that came through very
Yeah.
nicely. And that was when they had their guys in there. Now you
Right.
still know Nick Bosa, and so it's Fred Warner and a bunch of, essentially nobody's on that defense. And then you have an offense that is now a bunch of who's who, right?
Yep.
So it gives us an opportunity, some interesting opportunity in the prop market. But
No doubt.
for the game, it's, I've been high on the Rams ever since the season started.
Yep.
Matt Stafford is still okay, and he's still playing. So I'm going to be, I think the Rams get this done. However, that 7.5, I mean, it's makes you think a little bit twice.
Makes it, yeah, it definitely makes it you think it twice over a touchdown. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All
if
right.
this number does come down, I would snag it because
Yeah, I
anyways.
do think it could get ugly. It could be a very boring Thursday night game. So,
Yeah.
what plays or props do you have for us for this Thursday night game?
Yeah, it's a struggle right now, at least to find any or very many props on
Yeah.
the Niners side of things. So I stuck with pretty much all Rams props here. But I love Puka Nacua in this matchup. The dude's been an absolute stud
Yep.
through the first 4 weeks. So I have his anytime touchdown. I got it yesterday at plus 110. I think it's now minus 110, but I would still take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I did get Puka over 100 receiving yards at even money today. I think he's probably going to do this once again this week. Running back wise, I really think that this is going to be more of a Blake Corum game, just because, I mean, he's been getting more and more carries. Kyron Williams is a solid back, but he's not the explosive back that they're really looking for in that Sean McVay offense. So I took Blake Corum over 29.5 rushing yards. I think he does this pretty easily, potentially based on game script. And then I'm not fully on the Rams. I will do one prop fading the Rams. I do think that Stafford does throw a pick in this one. It is a division matchup at the end of the day, and that Niners defense, even without Nick Bosa, still has some playmakers out there. So I do think they get Stafford to throw one ball up for grabs, or it's a tip ball or something, some sort of situation. But I got that at minus 101.
Yeah. No, I think that. Well, yeah, one, the props have been a little bit tough because of all the injuries and stuff like that. It makes the books, rightfully so, are a little bit scared to put stuff out. But love the Puka. I mean, I gave him out before the season 11-1 to lead the NFL in receiving yards, so I hope he continues to be there. He was very highly rated by us in the fantasy world as far as what wide receiver he was. And I'm also going to just roll right in from the Corum pick. I also will be on Blake Corum over 29.5 rushing yards. And I'm going to take it a step forward. I like his rushing yards ladder. A couple weeks ago, you cashed off James Cook ladder there very nicely on a Thursday night game. Look, you mentioned it. Sean McVay is kind of annoying for Kyron Williams fantasy owners because he gives Blake Corum rushes, and Blake Corum is taking opportunity. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry this season. He's hit this number in 2 out of the 4 games this year. And I think game script wise, this is a situation where the Rams are probably going to win this one pretty comfortably. And I'm going to play all the way into that where they get their RB2 some reps and they start to, wear on this defense that is probably not going to be, look, they're going to be fired up in the first half. They're going to be motivated because it's a division rivalry. And then they're going to start getting their asses kicked and realize, if our coach phoned it in by not having our quarterback and our best players out there, maybe we'll just take a couple plays off too. Niners giving up 4 yards a carry and over 115 yards a game. So I love Blake Corum in this one. That's the only Rams play I have other than a couple touchdowns. I'll give it out at the end. For the 49ers, I found some things over on Bet365 there. Give me Mac Jones over 222.5 passing yards. In the 2 games that he started, he's cleared this. He's been over 275 yards in each. And I think there's going to be some garbage time in this one as well. They don't have another quarterback that they're going to put in there. I mean, Birdie's not going to be rolling out there. He's going to be ruled out. So I think that this is a situation where it's going to look ugly at first, and then when the rains start to come off a little bit, he's going to, some of them may get interception, but he's going to start trucking it down the field. So it's a low number for a starting quarterback in a game that I think can get out of hand. I think he picks up, he could pick up more than half of this just in the second half in garbage time. And then Kyle Juszczyk over 1.5 receptions at plus 155. The San Francisco 49ers don't have anyone else to catch the ball. He has actually hit this in 2 out of his 4 games when they actually did have wide receivers. So he had 3 catches for 32 yards last game and 2 for 32 in the first week. And he's had a catch in every single game. They're lining him up at wide receiver. Like, he's going to get the ball out of pure necessity. So I think to get it over plus 150 on this number is pretty crazy. I'm gonna give out a couple anytime touchdowns and then finish with defense because I have to sneak that in there. Been on an absolute tear with the sacks market, so stay tuned.
Yeah, you have.
This it's a weird division rivalry. Kind of could be an ugly game. Could be all over the place. So I'm not going. I think Puka. I think he's a great choice there at plus 100, plus 110. But I'm gonna go a little bit off the reservation. Give me a little bit, chop your unit up 3 ways. Anytime touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk 9-1 over on FanDuel. I just talked about it. He already has a touchdown on the season. He had 3 catches last week. Like, he's gonna be a target out there. And then the Rams tight end. I did get these before Higbee was ruled out, or he's technically doubtful. But Colby Parkinson plus 850 and Davis Allen plus 425. These San Francisco 49ers are susceptible against the tight end, and Matt Stafford likes to throw to the tight end, especially in the red zone. Davis Allen already has a touchdown on the year, and I think both those guys are going to get plenty of run with no one being the clear tight end too. So those are my 3 kind of dart throws for anytime touchdowns. And then to wrap it up in the defensive market, give me safety Marquez Sigle over 6.5 total tackles there. He's a guy who's kind of came out of nowhere and kind of had to play due to necessity with Mustafa coming out. But he is the 3rd leading tackler on this team. He's already got 26 tackles, so he's hit this number in the past 2 games as he's getting more playing time. So I think that it's a situation where a player is stepping up, and then game script. The Rams are going to run a lot of plays on offense. There's going to be a lot of tackle opportunities is what I'm hitting at. And then the last thing, got to throw one of these in here. Bryce Huff, 1+ sacks at plus 162. I thought I was going to all be on the Rams here as far as their sacks and going up there. The numbers are pretty juiced. And also I noticed Stafford's been sacked 8 times this year. So he's pretty susceptible. And with Nick Bosa out, the one guy that has multiple sacks on the year that's left is Bryce Huff. He's kind of found a new home here in San Francisco. I think that getting him at over plus 150 is a bit of a steal. He's the clear guy that if San Francisco is going to get Stafford on the ground, it's going to be Huff. So give me Huff 1+ sacks at plus 162.
I like it.
Anything left to add on this Thursday night football game between the 49ers and the Rams here?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Well, that means we did it, folks. NFL Week 5 slate. We just gave you all the answers to the test, all the meds you could possibly need, all the winners. So you got anything for the people before we get on out of here?
Nope. As usual, check out the college football episode that comes out on Tuesday night. We're throwing out winners over there for the college slate. Starting on Friday night that we've been pretty darn hot on to start the season. And then obviously a boatload of games on Saturday. You're still doing your IDP injury report tomorrow night, getting that out there. I did my waiver wire show this past Monday, I guess it comes out. So we're throwing out all kinds of content over at DFSG Plus and IDP Plus. As usual, share it out. We're trying to build a family, trying to build a little bit of a community over here of betting lovers, and we're just trying to build the channel as far as get as many subscribers as we can. It shows the bosses that we're not just a bunch of jagoffs that don't know what we're talking about. So like, share, subscribe, do all the things.
I didn't listen to anything you said after betting lovers. I thought that was fun. But no, Derek did do a great job there. Look, we were on a 4-1 a game day college football streak, 5-2 on the year. We do have a play for Friday night. You're not going to want to miss. Yeah, check that out. I'll make sure that gets linked at the end screen here in just a couple seconds. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. You guys have been great this season. We've taken the channel from, I think we've gotten like 500 subscribers in just a couple months. So we appreciate the love. And we are going to reward you with keep giving you some winners. So if you like it, like Derek said, share it. It's almost a holiday season, hey, give a kid a piece of candy, and hey, check out the Degen docs on YouTube. Sweets can come in all different shapes and sizes, but no, we appreciate it, folks. Yeah, chop it up in the comments. Let us know what you're tailing, what you're fading. We always like to chop it up. And if you want any kind of up-to-date injury stuff, we'll be putting content out. But the best way is to follow us on X. I am at the Degen Doc, and Derek is at Professor_Lock2. You know what they say, folk. Pause. Hold on. I can't mess up the catchphrase to end it. We got to go up. We got to get some good mojo here. Here we go. You know what they say, folks. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the Degen Docs, we've got your prescription. From Professor Locks and the Degen Locks on DFSG Plus, we are out of here.